AITA for keeping low contact with my father because he dates a copy of me. I found myself keeping a pretty low-key relationship with my dad. He's 47 and I'm 26. It's not like I sat him down and said, "Hey, Dad, just FYI, we're going low contact now." It's been more of a gradual thing over the past couple of years. Honestly, we've never been super tight. My parents split when I was around 11 or 12, so I didn't have that typical father-daughter bond growing up. When I was little, he wasn't around much, except when my mom and my grandma basically nudged him into spending time with me. And even then, it always felt like he'd rather be anywhere else. As a teenager, things got a bit better, but mostly because he was dating this woman, Jane, who kind of pushed for us to have a decent relationship. Funny enough, Jane's parents had also gone through a divorce, so she understood where I was coming from. It was during his time with Jane that he actually consistently paid child support. Seriously, that woman was a saint for putting up with him. There was definitely a time when I really wanted to have a closer relationship with my dad, but after a series of letdowns, I've come to accept him for who he is. Some of those letdowns stick out pretty vividly in my memory. First off, when I was a kid, there just wasn't much effort on his part, you know? Plus, as I mentioned earlier, the whole child support situation was pretty slim. Money and time always seemed to be in short supply for him, as far back as I can remember. Then there was that one time he was supposed to pick me up from the airport. I mean, it's not like it was a small thing. I was stranded, and he completely forgot. My calls were going straight to voicemail, so I had to rely on the kindness of strangers just to figure out how to get home. Talk about stressful, it was a 2-hour drive from the airport to my house. And don't even get me started on that conversation we had about him potentially having more kids. He straight up said he wanted a son to carry on his legacy. I mean, seriously, it's like he didn't even consider how that might make me feel, like I wasn't enough or something. To top it all off, he's talked trash about my mom and her new partner right to my face. Not cool, Dad, not cool at all. It's like he doesn't realize that kind of negativity just drives a wedge between us even further. And if all that wasn't enough, here's the cherry on top. My dad seems to have a thing for dating women in their 20s. At first, I didn't pay much attention, but over time, I couldn't help but notice the pattern. And let me tell you, it's not exactly reassuring. Now, here's where it gets really bizarre. His current squeeze? She's only 21. Yep, you heard that right, 5 years younger than me. It's kind of freaky how much she looks like me, too. I mean, my husband thinks I'm overreacting, but I can't shake this feeling of utter disgust. I mean, think about it. He's been pretty absent in my life, and now he's all buddy-buddy with someone who's basically a younger version of me. As I started pulling back, it became pretty clear that I was the one doing all the heavy lifting in our relationship. It took him a whole year to even realize I was distancing myself. And now? Well, now he's suddenly putting in some effort, but it feels a bit too little, too late. He started getting my grandma and mum involved, like they're his messengers or something. They keep telling me that I should reach out to him, like it's all on me to make things right. And then there's the barrage of messages from him, asking when I'll make time to see him, like it's all up to me to fit him into my schedule. And don't even get me started on the photos he keeps sending me of him and his girlfriend. They look all happy and cozy, like they're living the dream or something. You know, I'll admit, whenever I do end up meeting with him, it's not all bad. I mean, the guy can be pretty charming when he wants to be. It's like he has this superpower to just disarm me, make me forget all the reasons I've been keeping my distance. But here's the thing, once I walk away, that feeling of emptiness and sadness starts creeping back in. It's like he's finally realized he needs to make an effort to keep me in his life, and sure, that's something. But it's not enough to erase all the past disappointments. So now he's constantly reaching out, making sure we stay in touch. And me? Well, I mostly just reply with a string of emojis because honestly, I don't know what else to say. And let's not forget about his mom, my grandma. She's always pushing for us to stay in touch, like it's her life mission or something. Honestly, it can get pretty exhausting. Take my wedding, for example. It was supposed to be this super intimate affair, just a handful of close friends and family. My mom, stepdad, in-laws, you know, the works. But then Grandma started laying on the guilt trip, saying she'd cut ties with me if I didn't invite her son, my dad. Talk about pressure. So, against my better judgment, I caved and invited him. And what do you know? He actually showed up on time for once, which is practically a miracle in itself. Even though he was there, I couldn't shake this nagging feeling of resentment. Like, am I the bad guy here for wanting to keep my distance? It's not like I'm doing it to be mean, I've just had my fair share of disappointment, you know?